Hi everyone, good day. My name is Michelangelo Macera and we are the Group 1. And today we're discussing about the Article 1188. So, what is Article 1188? Article 1188 focuses on protecting the rights of a creditor before a suspensive condition is fulfilled. A suspensive condition is a future event that must happen before an obligation takes effect. The article provides two main rules. Number one, that the creditor can take action to protect his rights before the condition is fulfilled. The second is that the debtor can recover any payment made by mistake if the condition does not happen. So,
Key points. Number 1. Action for the preservation of the creditor's right. So, what happens when something is promised to a creditor under a suspensive condition, but the debtor sells it to another person before the condition is fulfilled? In such cases, the creditor has legal remedies to protect their expected rights. So, here's how. First, the creditor can stop the delivery of the thing. This involves intervening to ensure the item is not transferred to a third party. So by doing so, the thing remains available in case the suspensive condition is eventually met. Second, the creditor can annotate a lis pendens on the title. A lis pendens serves as a formal notice that there is a pending litigation involving the property. So this alerts potential buyers about the legal dispute and prevents further transactions that could complicate the creditor's claim. And lastly, the creditor can file a notice of adverse claim with the Register of Deeds. So by doing this, the creditor signals their interest or claim in the property. It acts as a safeguard against fraudulent or rash transactions that could harm the creditor's right. So in summary, these actions, stopping delivery, annotating a lis pendens, and filing a notice of adverse claim, help ensure that the creditor's rights are not unfairly lost while awaiting the fulfillment of the suspensive condition.
Number 2. Payment by mistake. If a debtor mistakenly pays money before the suspensive condition happens, he can get it back. This rule prevents the creditor from unjust enrichment, unfairly benefiting from money he was not entitled to. The law also requires the creditor to return the payment with legal interest. And for the example scenario, when a person agrees to buy a car only if he gets approved for a bank loan, he mistakenly pays the seller before the loan is approved. And if the loan is rejected, he can ask for a refund because the suspensive condition or the loan approval did not happen.
Related court case, Spouses Bought versus Court of Appeals 2001. In this case, a payment was made in expectation of a condition that did not happen. The court ruled that the debtor had the right to recover the payment with interest, applying the principle of a just enrichment. This Spouses Bought versus Court of Appeals 2001 is a case that deals with the principle of unjust enrichment under the Philippine law. The spouses both made the payment based on the expectation that a certain condition would be fulfilled. However, the expected event did not take place. Since the condition failed, they sought to recover the payment. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of the spouses both, affirming their right to recover the payment with interest. The decision was based on the principle of unjust enrichment, which states that no one should be allowed to unfairly benefit at another expense. Since the recipient of the payment had no valid basis to retain the money, the court ordered its return.
The conclusion of Article 1188 protects both creditors and debtors by ensuring that creditors can protect their rights before a suspensive condition happens, and debtors can recover mistaken payments to prevent unfair gain by creditors. This law promotes fairness and justice in contractual obligations.
to keep it short, Article 1188 is about what happens when an obligation depends on a condition. If you're waiting for something to happen before an obligation kicks in, the person expecting to receive something can ask for it to be protected in the meantime. On the other hand, if the obligation will end once a certain event happens, both sides have to return whatever they got from each other. Basically, it ensures fairness while waiting for a condition to be fulfilled. Hi, good morning everyone. and we are the Group 1. My name is Michelangelo E. Almasara, and today we're discussing about the report on Article 1189. So, what is Article 1189? Obligations are legal responsibilities that require a person or the debtor to give, do, or not to do something for another person or the creditor. Some obligations depend on a future event before they take effect, known as suspensive condition, while Article 1189 of the Civil Code of the Philippines provide rules on what happens to an object or thing involved in an obligation while waiting for the condition to happen.
Text of Article 1189. When the conditions have been imposed with the intention of suspending the efficacy of an obligation to give, the following rules shall be observed in case of the improvement, loss, or deterioration of the thing, dependency of the condition. So number 1, if the thing is lost without the debtor's fault, the obligation is extinguished. So this means that if the object of the obligation is destroyed or lost due to natural causes or accidents without the debtor's negligence, the debtor is no longer required to fulfill the obligation. The debtor is not held liable because the loss was not caused by negligence or intentional acts. For example, if a car promise under a conditional obligation is destroyed in a typhoon, the debtor is no longer required to deliver it. So number 2, if the thing is lost due to debtor's fault, he shall be liable for damages. If the loss happens because of the debtor's negligence or intentional act, the creditor has the right to demand compensation. Damages would be paid as a form of reparation for the loss. For instance, if the same car is lost because the debtor was recklessly driving, the debtor must provide monetary compensation or its equivalent.
If the thing deteriorates without the debtor's fault, the impairment is borne by the creditor. If the object's condition worsens over time due to natural causes, the creditor cannot hold the debtor responsible for its deterioration. Number 4, if the thing deteriorates because of the debtor's fault, the creditor may choose between the rescinding the obligation or demanding fulfillment with damages. If the debtor is responsible for the damage, the creditor has two choices. The one is to cancel obligation and seek restitution, and the other one is to proceed with the agreement but demand compensation. Number 5, if the thing improves due to nature or the debtor's effort, the benefit belongs to the creditor. If the item increases in value whether naturally or because the debtor improved it, the creditor receives the full benefit without having to compensate the debtor.
Conclusion of Article 1189 ensures fairness in conditional obligations by determining who is responsible for the loss, damage, or improvement of an object while waiting for a future event. This protects both the debtor and the creditor by setting clear rules on the rights and responsibilities. Understanding this law helps people manage obligations properly and avoid legal conflicts.
So, to keep it short, Article 1189 says that if something is supposed to be given once a condition happens, it must be taken care of while waiting. If it's lost without anyone's fault, the obligation is cancelled. If the debtor is at fault, they must pay. If it gets damaged, the debtor is responsible for its fault. If it improves naturally, the receiver benefits, but if the debtor improves it, they get credit. It's all about fairness while waiting for the condition. It's about fair trade, to be exact.